Have you ever lived in an old home or dreamt of restoring one? The kind with squeaky floors, quirky rooms, and mysteries you'll never probably solve? Then today's video is for you. I've lived in this 1910 farmhouse for a number of years, so I've got quite a few stories to tell. So grab yourself a cup of coffee and let's talk about the top 10 things I think you need to know before buying an old home. Focus on finding peace in our hearts and in our homes. First off, I want to know, do you own an old home? Have you lived in an old home? Or are you dreaming of buying an old home of your own? Regardless, you might find this interesting, you might agree with me on some, or it might be a warning of what you're getting yourself into. Today I'm going to be talking about the house I live in. It's over 100 years old. This is one of the oldest farmhouses in the area. The property used to run all the way to the river, and when my parents bought it back in the 1970s, there was a carriage house that ended up getting torn down. So sad. But when they bought it, it had shag carpets, it had a roof that ended up caving in because of all of the leaks, and the attic was full of buckets. It has undergone many transformations since then, but today we're going to focus on top 10 things I think you need to know before buying an old home. So let's go ahead and get started with one that's probably pretty obvious. It's more work than you think. I'm sure when my parents first bought this place, they had grandiose dreams. They were young, it was before I was born, but they learned really quickly and the hard way that old homes come with a lot of work. Unless they've been fully renovated or updated, you're gonna end up getting something that has old wiring, old plumbing, old plaster, old finishes. You might end up having to deal with asbestos or lead-based paint. It is going to be a never-ending project, especially if you're moving in while you're doing the remodel. Just when you get done with one room, there's another room that needs to be done. So for instance, right now we've been working on this living room. We still have pictures that need to be hung. There's paint that still needs to be finished. The entryway needs some touch-up and finishing work. That my current bedroom that I'm living in, as well as the adjoining rooms, needs a full remodel, including the bathroom. So that might be upcoming. I feel like my entire life has been one project after the other because my dad did most of the work until my brother and I were old enough to help with them, and my mom helped out. But again, just as soon as you think it's done, it's not. There's another project right around the corner. So be prepared for that in an old home. And the older it is, the more you're gonna have to look forward to fixing things up. While to some that might seem overwhelming, to us as a creative family, we kind of like the challenge. That is kind of the joy of an old home. So don't let that turn you off, but be warned, it will never end. So number 2 is the unexpected surprises. When you go to remodel a home or make any changes in an old home, you're going to find things that just may not be explainable. See, in a recent video I did about the living room remodel, there was a doorway that we had shiplapped over. Now to a future owner, they may look at that and go, where did this go to? Because over the years we've changed things, and it used to enter into a laundry room that had a closet adjoining, and now you enter it from a whole different way. Also, we discovered that the stairway used to go up and to the right. That had been closed in over time, and there was this really weird patch in the floor that made absolutely no sense because it was just a weird shaped room. So once we figured that out, it was kind of like, oh, that totally makes sense. Should we put it back the way it was? Too much work at this point. Our house also used to be kind of an apartment of sorts way back in the day. So it has been split up a little bit odd, and the changes that have been made over the years are a little bit mysterious as to why. Because the house behind us was built by the owners of this property and then split off at a later date, our lot lines are a little bit weird, and we share some like sewer lines. So that's definitely something to look into before buying an old home. You don't know what you're getting into. The worst thing I've ever found was a dead rat in the walls, but a lot of the other things are just quirky, mysterious, fun things that really make your home unique. Next is cold and drafty winters. I am always cold because a lot of them aren't insulated well. You know, when they settle, they get cracks and it's a little bit drafty. The windows aren't always up to date. So until you fully seal it and fully get it up to date, you can expect to be really cold in the winters. So I layer up a lot in the winter time, blankets, socks, multiple layers just to keep warm. We do have fireplaces, and we have some like mini split systems that have helped take the edge off, and our insulation has been upgraded over time. We added a new roof last year, which definitely helped seal things up. But it's just something that we fight all the time. It sometimes just gets so bitterly cold. It really is hard to keep it warm. But just keep in mind when you're buying an old home, it may not be up to date, and that can really affect the temperature in your home. So grab your blankets, grab your pet, get some extra socks. Another thing to keep in mind is the floor plan. Often older homes, especially 100-year-old homes, were broken up a little bit more for, I know, for heat and maybe even for privacy, because they were often small homes. So you're not going to get the open floor plan like we do nowadays, where you like to be able to see your children. Well, I don't have children, but if a lot of moms like to be able to see their children playing in the other rooms, I just see Bailey playing in the other room, but oh my gosh, look how sweet he is. But that is definitely something to keep in mind. You're not going to get that open concept like a lot of people like nowadays. Now, I love cozy spaces and cozy rooms. I like the extra walls to put furniture on and just make a really warm and comfortable space. But if that's not your thing, you're not going to like old homes, or you're going to have to do the work to really open it up. And we have a little bit here, opened up a little bit more, like our family room is open up to the kitchen. And we have more barn doors now that kind of keep things open a little bit better. But for the most part, the rooms are very small and they're very cozy and they're really cut off from each other. You know, our entryway is really small, our staircase is very narrow. You're just living in a little bit tighter space. So filming even is a little bit hard because I can't get real far away from whatever the subject is that I'm filming. So that's just the way they are. And if you like that, then you'll love an old home. So that's going to actually lead me into the next point, which is storage or closet space. These people had nothing back then. Clearly, we have so little storage space in our home. There are 2 tiny closets upstairs, and there are only 2 closets downstairs. So we've really had to get creative over the years and create storage spaces. So like putting in extra storage under the stairway and putting some doors in there, or a little space in our entryway that really was unused. When we went to remodel, we found a little cavity in there and made a little closet out of it. You got to get creative. And then also furniture can be a great way for storage. So armoires, large cabinets, like this one behind me. Just any extra storage you can get. Good sized dressers. It's a good way to keep you accountable to not buying extra stuff. I don't think you're always thinking about that when you're walking through a space. You're thinking about like where your furniture is going to go. But keep in mind, when you're looking at old homes, there is a good chance you're not going to have a lot of closets. One of my favorite things about an old home is they're not cookie cutter. This is not your typical living on a cul-de-sac type of home that looks just like your neighbor's house. So if you like that individual feeling and individual look, an old home is definitely for you. If you've seen some of my videos, we have this really cool old porch, which I love. You know, I love our bay window. It's had some add-ons over the years. It's just got a lot of really cool quirks and unique things that you're just not gonna find in your regular home. And that's not for everybody. Some people like that clean, brand new, fresh look, but an old home just comes with a lot of character that you can't get in a cookie cutter home. Another thing that I really love is being able to customize with no guilt, because it's been improved over the years, that other people in the past have done it, maybe poorly, like shag rugs. Well, in their time, they might have been okay. And our home has definitely had a transformation over the years. So for instance, a coffee bar that we did last year was actually just a closet and ended up holding junk that we didn't really need. So what I thought would be a bad idea by removing closet space and creating a coffee bar was actually one of the best decisions we've made. And it's a really functional space that holds a ton of stuff. And I actually find that it made us more organized because everything has a rightful place now. So I really love it. But again, everything can be changed. You can utilize things or make better use of a space. And then as your life changes and you kind of grow into the space, you can change it again. That's the great news about that. Although it is getting more and more expensive to do DIY. If you like the ability to customize things, then an old home is just perfect for you. Another thing to keep in mind is how much you're willing to spend on an old home, because they can be very expensive. Now, our family's been very frugal. My mom, we joke, is the finder lady, and she's always finding things on like Marketplace, or we used to use Craigslist back in the day, or yard sales. But it can add up, especially if you're having someone else do the work for you. So keep that in mind. I'm actually working on a video right now about our living room, and I will itemize the cost. But for instance, we were able to buy a sofa for under $100 that was worth thousands of dollars. If you really search hard enough and you're open and creative enough, you can make an expensive looking room without a lot of money. And don't forget to search for supplies as well on Marketplace. We have been able to find old windows or additions in other rooms that add character, that are secondhand and not necessarily something you're going to buy from a retail place. And you'd be really surprised about what you can find at yard sales and estate sales. You just have to think outside the box when it comes to the things you find, and you can save yourself a lot of money. Then there are things that you don't want to change because you love them and they're quirky and they're unique. And that is really something else that I love about old homes. It's just those really unique details that make them one of a kind. And that is the stuff that like comes with original wavy glass, and maybe even uneven floors or unique trim molding. It's the stuff that new builders try to recreate, and it's just really hard to recreate something that has that authentic, unique quality to it. And if you're like me, you'll understand this last one as you're part of a story. You're continuing on building something inside a home that has already been loved and already has a story to it. I love old furniture. I love vintage things. So to me, having an old home is just a part of that. I actually had the last owner stop by. She was a teenager when my parents stopped by to look at the space and see if they wanted to buy it, and she did not want them here. She loved this home, and so she was so bummed that somebody was coming by to buy it. But it was so cool to hear her story and all the wonderful memories she had built here, and even had a horse in the backyard, which is so small. I have no idea how she did that. But it was kind of cool to hear her story, and that we were able to continue on in this house and build upon those memories. So while old houses might not be for everybody because of their quirky tendencies and their high maintenance, they definitely teach you patience. You have to be creative and adaptable to live in an old home. They do offer so many unique things, and if you do like things with a story or that have a lot of potential, then an old home is definitely for you. Well, that's it for my list for today. Hopefully that's helpful to any of you that are looking to buy an old home or have been dreaming of one. If you have anything to add that you think would be a great warning for new home buyers that are buying old homes, then please drop that in the comments below. And I guess that's it for today, and I'll see you in the next video.